Please be seated. Good morning, everybody. As president of Weber State University, I am pleased to welcome you on behalf of the faculty, staff, and governing boards to our 149th commencement exercises. The Weber State University Wind Ensemble, conducted by Dr. Shannon Roberts, performed the prelude and processional music. Seated on the platform are members of the Board of Trustees, Nolan Karras, Luenda Downs, Kirsten Kotrubis, Andre Lortz, Jeff Stevens, Kevin Sullivan, and Greg Woodfield. We're very pleased Dr. F. Ann Milner, past president of the university and honorary degree recipient, is with us today. Members of the Utah State Board of Regents, France Davis, Jessilee Anderson, Laura Belknap, Scott Marquardt, and Spencer Stokes have joined us. We're delighted to have Commissioner Dave Buehler here representing the Utah system of higher education. Past honorary degree recipients, faculty, staff, and student body officers are seated on the floor. I'd especially like to acknowledge our faculty and staff who are retiring this year. Thank you for your dedication and service to the university. We wish you well in your new endeavors. Please, let's give them a round of applause. Welcome, graduates. Today, as you celebrate your accomplishment, think of the person that you have become. Students arrive at Weber State for many reasons, but they always graduate as a better version of themselves. You now have a basic set of skills and a growing expertise in your chosen field. You are better equipped to solve complex problems because you understand how to look at challenges from different points of view. You can better imagine what the world looks like through someone else's eyes. You have become more empathetic. Your confidence in navigating this world has likely blossomed. Maybe you had the opportunity to study abroad or participate in a community-engaged learning project, or had the opportunity to serve an internship in your prospective field. You discovered that you could accomplish great things, and you will continue to accomplish great things. I would like to take this moment to learn a little bit more about the class of 2017. Graduates, this is the interactive parts of today's ceremony. Will you help me out? Okay. Graduates, please stand up if you are the first in your family to graduate from college. Please be seated. Thank you. That's a moment that always gets me. Now, please stand up if you have a job waiting for you or if you're continuing in graduate or professional studies. Thank you. Please take your seats. When I visit with Weber State alumni, many of them tell me a story about a member of our faculty or staff, or sometimes a coach, who took a special interest in them and helped guide them to a better and new exciting new path in life. Please stand if you had an experience similar to that at Weber State. Thank you. Please be seated. Just one more. Please stand up if you are a veteran of the armed services or an active military member. Thank you for your service to our country. Please be seated. Congratulations to each of you and best wishes for your future success. Today, graduates, as we celebrate your accomplishments, I would like to mention two faculty members who have transformed the lives of our graduating class. They are recipients of the 2017 Brady Presidential Distinguished Professor Award, made possible by a generous gift from Rodney and Mitzi Brady. Rod served as president of Weber State College from 1978 to 1985. He passed away earlier this year, but he left a lasting impression on this institution. We would like to sincerely thank his wife, Mitzi, for continuing his legacy of support for Weber State University's faculty. The Brady Presidential Distinguished Professors for 2017 are Professor Stacy Palin and Professor Michael Stevens. I will formally recognize these worthy recipients during their respective convocations in the College of Science and the Goddard School of Business and Economics. Let's give these wonderful professors a round of applause. You will soon have the opportunity to hear from Thais Stewart, one of our outstanding graduates of the 2017 class, who will deliver the student address. Following Thais's remarks, we'll have a short video featuring fellow graduates. Nolan Karras, Chair of the Board of Trustees, will introduce this year's honorary degree recipients. The Board of Trustees members and Weber State Vice Presidents will perform the hoodings and presentations of honorary degrees to Evelyn Harris, Steve Peterson, Don Salazar, and Carla Bergeson. Carla Bergeson will then provide our commencement address. She'll be followed by a performance of the Weber State University Wind Ensemble. If the last year has taught us anything, it's that the political world is a topsy-turvy one, filled with both pitfalls and opportunities. Thais Stewart, who is graduating with a Bachelor of Arts in Public Relations and a Bachelor of Science in Political Science, is uniquely qualified to navigate that minefield and help others do the same. Thais served as campaign assistant for a successful 2016 State House of Representatives candidate, a legislative assistant for another state lawmaker, and she was a legislative social media specialist. In addition, she served as the Davis campus senator here at Weber State. Thais credits her professors, especially Dr. Nicola Corbin, with supporting her through the difficult and demanding times here at Weber State. She said that she often feels a personal connection to subjects and professors. She also credits her family for pushing her toward the levels of education that they themselves did not have the opportunity to attain. That's a goal. Thais's goal after graduation is to work for a public relations firm here in Utah for a few years, and then to enter the public sector, one duty as an elected official. She particularly wants to serve as an advocate for minority groups and help ensure that they have a bigger voice in the political realm. Please help me welcome Thais Stewart.
Good morning, faculty, family, friends, and especially my fellow graduates. Standing here today, it would be easy to offer the cliches often heard at commencement. I, however, will end with a challenge for all of us. But first, I would like to share part of my personal journey. I moved to the United States from Brazil when I was 8 years old. While in Brazil, I did not realize that poverty was ever present in our lives. I slept on a hard floor in the living room of my grandparents' 2-bedroom home with my mother and 2 siblings. Though we were poor, I was never hungry. I always had a roof over my head, and education was always a priority. I would wake up in the mornings listening to my grandmother read her scriptures. She lost her father at a young age and never had a proper education. Through her own determination and faith, she learned to read. She and my late grandfather taught me many lessons that I hold dear to this day. In June 1998, my parents made a courageous and scary decision. They moved our family to the United States with nothing but our suitcases and the help of my amazing Aunt Bia. The amount of English in my vocabulary at the time included the ABCs and a handful of phrases such as hello, goodbye, and where is the restroom? I walked around with a dictionary in my pocket for several months to help communicate with neighbors and friends. I lost countless nights' sleep because I had a hard time understanding those around me. We dealt with the snide remarks and laughter in response to our broken English. To this day, my parents suffer this type of ridicule. However, we also had many guardian angels. For example, I remember one holiday, my parents informed us that Santa was struggling that year with all the children around the world, and we should be grateful no matter what happened. Then, on Christmas Eve, there was a knock on our door. Outside were bags full of toys, clothes, and food. I also had friends who would spend their weekends writing simple words on sticky notes and placing them around our house to help us learn the language. Throughout my childhood and young adulthood, my family also stressed the importance of education, which is what helped push me to be standing at this podium. Today, I graduate as a first-generation college student. Today, I graduate as the granddaughter of an illiterate woman. Today, I graduate as a Latina immigrant. But most importantly, like all of you, today I graduate. My immigration story is much longer, more complex, and challenging than what I have relayed in the few short minutes. I still dearly miss family members I haven't seen since leaving Brazil 19 years ago. All of that has taken a toll on my mental health. But today, we all achieved something that is not easily done. Everyone has a story and a personal journey. Our education was not simply handed to us. We had to overcome obstacles, take tests, write papers, lose sleep, and drink buckets of caffeine. You are here because you chose to be. You are here because you worked hard. Not only that, but we are all here today because of those who believed in us. Thanks to that support, we have accomplished something great. I know for a fact that I would not be standing here today without my incredible parents, friends, and my husband. I would not be living and breathing in front of you had it not been for the wise words and insight from a compassionate and knowledgeable Department of Communication faculty member and friend. I also took advantage of the campus resources available to Weber State University students, such as the Counseling Center, the Center for Multicultural Excellence, and the Health Center. So thank you to all of you who have helped us get to where we are today. Now, my challenge. Do not let this experience go to waste. Use your knowledge to accomplish your goals. Use the lessons you've learned to better the world. Be ethical in all your dealings. Many individuals do not have the same privilege. Use this privilege as a college graduate to help those around you. Be well informed and know that everything you do does make a difference. We all have stories to share. We all have dealt with hardships. Now, remember them and use them to fuel your passions. Remember both the good and bad, because even though we all suffered, we are here. Use this privilege to leave the world better than the one you were born into. Congratulations to us all, Weber State graduates, class of 2017. Thank you.
To me, making your dream happen means sticking to it, following your dreams, being uncomfortable.
To have my dreams come true also means helping others' dreams come true.
Making my dream happen means pushing myself to get to where I want to be instead of just letting life happen to me. I grew up in California, in Northern California. I went to California State University, Monterey Bay for my bachelor's degree. About my junior year of college, I started working in the athletic training room, and I kind of just fell in love with it and decided I want to go get my master's in athletic training. And a lot of people from that internship that I worked came here and ended up loving it here in Utah and at Weber State. So I thought, why not me? I applied, got in, and it's been an awesome experience here for me. Last July, I had the opportunity to work with a company that provides medical service for extreme sports. I worked at the Nitro World Games down in Salt Lake, and I got to meet Travis Pastrana and Tony Hawk and just awesome extreme sport athletes, and I got to learn how to provide emergency medical care to extreme sport athletes, and it's just been an awesome opportunity that is pretty unique to Weber State, and I don't think anyone else really gets that opportunity, so that was awesome.
Well, I ended up at Weber State after 8 years in the military. I originally went to West Point right out of high school. Coming to Weber State from West Point was a bit of a culture shock, but in a good way. My first day at West Point, and you hug your family goodbye. You go back behind the stage, and you all of a sudden have upperclassmen yelling at you to get on a bus, and it's go time from day one. My first day at Weber State, I was greeted by a whole lot of very smiling faces and donuts and people helping me find my classes. So it was a very stark contrast, but it was a very welcome contrast. So after leaving West Point, I served 3 tours in Afghanistan, a total of 2.5 years. In 2013, I went through the selection process, was selected, and deployed with the U.S. Army Rangers. My roommate from training and my good friend Jennifer Marino was an Army nurse. She also was selected for it, and we were stationed together in Kandahar. Unfortunately, on October 5th, 2013, she was killed on a mission while she was moving to help aid wounded troops. I had already wanted to pursue medicine, and I'd talked a lot to Jenny about being a nurse, but that was really kind of a turning point for me and determining that this was my true passion in life, and I wanted to go on and follow in her steps with medicine since she was unfortunately not able to.
I feel like the medical lab science program, they set you up for success. They really want you to succeed. They're very strict, and that creates discipline, and that helps you structure your life so that you can plan out a way to graduate. And I feel like after I got into the MLS program, that kind of helped me visualize a path to graduation. I am in the field right now. I work at Ogden Clinic in the laboratory there. It's the first time that I'm working in something that I'm going to school for. I knew it was going to eventually happen, but when it happened, I almost didn't believe it was happening, because I was, I worked at a dry cleaners for years, and working at dry cleaners and now working in a laboratory, it's a little different. You have to be very meticulous with what you do, very careful, because you're dealing with people's lives. If I call a pregnancy test, if I say it's positive, nobody calls me back. The doctors don't call me back and say, "Are you sure this is positive?" They trust that my credentials and my skills. They trust that I know what I'm doing.
When I was young, I didn't go to school often. Starting in 2nd grade, my attendance was it was bad. And from there on, it kind of led to school not being as important to me at the time. And then with that, I kind of got caught up in a few things, and I had a kid at a very young age. I seemed lost, and I didn't have many people to turn to for guidance. I dropped out of high school, and I had an aunt that said, if you're going to be raising a boy, you need to get your GED at least. I thought my GED was the top of my capability, and I couldn't imagine myself being a graduate. It was that point when I realized that I need some sort of education in order to live a better life, and if I want to do that, I can show my son how to do that, even though I was learning myself. So the one thing that I knew that was right for me to do was go to school, and that's what I did. Weber State has been part of the process of making my dreams a reality by showing me new realities that I didn't know that I'd be able to pursue. They've introduced me and exposed me to so many different things that I find myself to be passionate about. I don't think there's just one word from me personally that I can give that can express how much it's given me. It's given me my education, which is my reason of going there. But I found so much more. I found my wife. I found more things within me that I never thought existed, and Weber State exposed me to.
Weber State is opportunity. It's opportunity for non-traditional students. It's opportunity for traditional students. It's an opportunity for people who come from all backgrounds to make their dreams come true.
Weber State's been a process in making my dreams and goals a reality by helping me realize that I have the potential to do great things.
I hope that if I do achieve my dreams, that I have more dreams that I want to achieve. I kind of hope that I never stop striving for something new.
Graduating at Weber State with a bachelor's degree in social work would show my son Zion that through all the challenges and difficulties and struggles, you can still reach those goals. And it shows him while I'm walking through that stage. Anything is possible.
We will now proceed with the awarding of the honorary degree of Doctorate of Humanities. This is the highest honor Weber State University confers upon an individual, and we are pleased to award such a degree today. President White, honored guest, distinguished faculty, it is my recommendation as chair of the Board of Trustees that the honorary degree of Doctorate of Humanities be conferred upon Evelyn Harris. Will Jeff Stevens, member of the Board of Trustees, and Norm Tarbox, Vice President of Weber State, please escort Evelyn Harris to the podium and assist in the hooding.
Former Weber State University faculty member Evelyn M. Harris has continued to spread the joy of music well after retiring in 2000. Thousands of Weber students perfected vocal talents under Miss Harris's direction during her 36 years at the institution. She directed numerous performing groups, including the Weber State Singers, who performed about 60 times a year both nationally and internationally. Miss Harris has had a principal role in many operas, including with a Utah opera company. In 2002, Miss Harris established the Weber State Alumni Singers, a choir of former students still active in performing. Many of her former students have gone on to Broadway and professional careers in music. Miss Harris received the Spirit of the American Woman Award and the George and Beth Lowe Teaching Award. She currently is an adjunct instructor and continues to teach private vocal lessons. Weber State University is pleased to recognize Evelyn M. Harris with a Doctor of Humanities honorary degree.
For the pursuit of musical excellence on behalf of her university and community, the Board of Trustees and President Charles A. White, on behalf of Weber State University, confer upon Evelyn Harris the degree of the Doctor of Humanities. Congratulations. Let me get you this. Isn't that wonderful?
That is so beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Now they want a picture, so come back over here.
Okay, we're coming.
President White, honored guests, distinguished faculty, it is my recommendation as chair of the Board of Trustees that the honorary degree of Doctor of Humanities be conferred upon Stephen M. Peterson. Will Kirsten Katrubis, member of the Board of Trustees, and Brad Mortensen, Vice President of Weber State, please escort Steve to the podium and assist in the hooding.
Weber State alumnus Stephen M. Peterson grew a family garage business into a world-class manufacturing firm. In 1989, Mr. Peterson purchased the family company, growing it into the 1.7 million square foot facility with more than 500 employees that exists today. Peterson Incorporated now has more than $1 billion in sales and serves customers around the world, providing technical custom fabrication and precision machining. Mr. Peterson provided leadership for the Utah Defense Alliance and is past president of the Utah Steel Fabricators Association. In 2002, Ernst & Young honored Mr. Peterson as the Utah Engineering Entrepreneur of the Year. At Weber State University, Mr. Peterson served on the Board of Trustees and is a member of the National Advisory Council. In 2016, Mr. Peterson received the WSU Salutes Distinguished Service Award. Recently, Mr. Peterson and his wife Polly established a scholarship at the university in honor of their fathers. Weber State University is pleased to recognize Steve M. Peterson with a Doctor of Humanities honorary degree.
For his contribution to his profession and community, the Board of Trustees and President Charles A. White, on behalf of Weber State University, confer upon Steve Peterson the degree of Doctor of Humanities. Thank you. Congratulations. I want another photo. President White, honored guest, distinguished faculty, it is my recommendation as the chair of the Board of Trustees that the honorary degree of Doctor of Humanities be awarded to Donald Salazar. Will Kevin Sullivan, member of the Board of Trustees, and Vice President Brett Ellis, please escort Don Salazar to the podium and assist in the hooding.
A lifelong resident of the Ogden area, Donald J. Salazar has made an impact well beyond his local community. Mr. Salazar is the president and CEO of Creative Times Incorporated, a design-build construction company headquartered in Ogden. CTI Construction works on a variety of multi-million-dollar projects throughout the country. As a longtime advocate for Utah businesses, Mr. Salazar currently serves as the chair for the United States Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. With 4.3 million members, the Chamber is the largest Hispanic business organization in the nation. Mr. Salazar was recognized as the SBA Contractor of the Year and also received a recognition award from the Ogden Area Hispanic Chamber for his commitment to improving the lives of young people. At Weber State University, Mr. Salazar serves on the National Advisory Council and is a past member of the Arts and Humanities Advisory Council. Weber State University is pleased to recognize Donald J. Salazar with a Doctor of Humanities honorary degree.
In recognition of his guidance on national and local levels of Hispanic business community, the Board of Trustees and President Charles A. White, on behalf of Weber State, confer upon Donald J. Salazar the degree of Doctor of Humanities. President White, honored guests, distinguished faculty, it is my recommendation as chair of the Board of Trustees that the honorary degree of Doctor of Humanities be conferred upon Carla K. Bergeson. Will Lewinda Downs, Vice Chair of the Board of Trustees, and Jan Winifred, Vice President of Weber State, please escort Carla to the podium and assist in the hooding.
Ogden native Carla K. Bergeson is an accomplished corporate legal executive who has never forgotten her northern Utah roots. Ms. Bergeson worked for former U.S. Congressman K. Gunn McKay and is one of 3 directors for the 1980 Utah Census. After beginning her legal career at General Electric, Ms. Bergeson moved to New York City to work for Citigroup, eventually becoming an executive vice president and deputy general counsel. She retired after a 23-year career advising Citigroup on complex legal issues and finding creative solutions to reach business goals. At Weber State University, Ms. Bergeson and her cousins created a scholarship in her mother and aunt's names to support students studying to become teachers. Ms. Bergeson later established a scholarship endowment to support teacher education. Ms. Bergeson serves on the WSU National Advisory Council and was awarded the Lewis W. Shurtleff Award for contributions to education. She enthusiastically promotes education, economic advancement, and leadership for women and girls. Weber State University is pleased to recognize Carla K. Bergeson with a Doctor of Humanities honorary degree.
For her recognition, for her tireless advocacy of education, economic advancement, and leadership opportunities for women and girls, the Board of Trustees and President Charles A. White, on behalf of Weber State University, confer upon Carla Bergeson the degree of Doctorate of Humanities. Congratulations. And this is your little prize. I'm now pleased to introduce to you your commencement speaker, an honorary degree recipient, Carla Bergeson.
To the Board of Trustees, President White, distinguished faculty and staff, honored guests, proud family members, and all you awesome graduates, I am deeply humbled and feel so privileged to be here today. Class of 2017, it's my high honor to share this amazing occasion with you. This is your day. This is your time. You all are such an inspirational sight as you prepare to graduate from this prestigious university. I want to share 3 stories with you today and the life lessons I learned from them. But first, let me tell you a little about my background. As President White asked the graduates to stand up, who were first in their family to graduate from college, I was reminded of my mother, 88 years old and going strong. She too was the first in her family to graduate from college. She was born in humble circumstances in a log cabin in Star Valley, Wyoming. No one in her family had even graduated from high school, let alone college. But my grandmother was determined to change that. Her oldest child was going to college. You all know a grandmother just like mine, I'm sure. When my mother graduated from college, everything did change for the better, for her and for everyone her life touched. My father was also born in humble circumstances just north of here in Cache County. At one point, after his family lost their home during the Great Depression, my grandfather cut hair for a quarter, and my grandmother helped support the family by teaching in elementary school. For both my mother and father, a college education was their path to achieving the American dream. Mom, please stand up. Give a wave to congratulate the graduates. Back to the 3 stories. I've named the first one, The Value of Hard Work. Coming from the family I did, I thought I knew what hard work meant, but I don't think I truly appreciated its value until law school. I'd worked hard to get good grades along the way, but the first year of law school was horrendous. During my second year, I signed up for a negotiations class. The class description sounded so intriguing. Learn what it's like to be a real-life practicing attorney and participate in negotiating sessions on behalf of clients. But the first day of class was daunting. As I looked around, I saw almost the entire moot court team, whose members were seen as the best debaters and the stars in our law school class. I was not a member of that group. The first class project was to negotiate an insurance settlement. I was assigned to represent the accident victim, and the student assigned to represent the insurance company with whom I was negotiating was one of those moot court stars. I worked harder to prepare than I ever had in a school setting. We were told the negotiating session was going to be taped and the results reviewed in class. What the professor said to the class that day has become a part of who I am. Something like, out there in real life, there will always be attorneys who are smarter than you. But how hard are you willing to work? Carla assumed the person sitting on the other side of that negotiating table was very smart, so she did everything she could to prepare. And her negotiating opponent made a classic mistake. From what he thought he knew about her, he underestimated her ability and how hard she would work. Compared to everyone here, she got one of the best results on behalf of her client. I've never forgotten that life lesson. You can never, ever, ever underestimate the value of hard work. I've named the second story, Opening Doors to Opportunities. After graduating from law school, I thought I had secured my dream job, working as in-house counsel at a wonderful company in New York City. Why New York, you may ask? Like many of you, this girl from Ogden, Utah wanted to spread her wings and fly. And whether you just fly down the street, fly to another city or state or another country, it's important to follow your dreams. But while studying for the New York State bar exam, I learned that my dream job had fallen through. I was devastated. I remember going down to the banks of the Hudson River and shedding tears, thinking, I'm going to have to go back to Ogden a failure. But as I thought it through, I was convinced that the answer was fight. Don't give up yet. I pulled out all the stops, got lists of attorneys associated in any way with Utah or BYU, and started calling and asking for advice and help. I remember calling one name on my list and asking for his advice as I prepared for an interview at a law firm where he had once worked. While he did answer my questions, he asked me what I knew about General Electric, his current employer. He told me that they hired a certain number of attorneys every year right out of law school and put them through a rigorous training course. He said that recently they'd learned one of the attorneys who had accepted their offer couldn't come after all. I told him the only thing I knew about GE was that they made light bulbs. He said he was going to deliver my resume personally to the hiring committee, but that I had to study and learn everything I could about GE in case I was lucky enough to get an interview. As I did the research, I marveled at what a wonderful company GE was and what a proud history it had. I was astonished to learn it was incorporated in 1892, several years before Utah even became a state. And during my interview, we talked about that. Shortly after, I was offered the job. Yes, I finally had a job. Packed my belongings, which all fit in a very small rental car, and moved up to Fairfield, Connecticut, the corporate headquarters where my job was located. I don't think I realized it then, but starting my legal career at General Electric was the opportunity of a lifetime. Life lesson number 2. When things look the bleakest, fight, fight, fight for your dreams. realize that opening those doors to opportunities may mean that when you are not someone's first choice, you can still be their best choice. I've named the third story, Be Proud of Your Heritage and Live Your Values Out Loud. This story starts when I moved back to New York City after accepting an offer to work in the credit card business at Citibank. While at GECC, the financial services arm of GE, I learned that working in consumer financial services was what I enjoyed. This offer was an opportunity to work for one of the largest providers of financial services in the world. Citibank had locations in over 100 countries. However, things didn't go well at the beginning. Everything was different, and I felt different from everyone with whom I worked. Sadly, I was already aware of being one of few women in business meetings, but the other differences were new to me. Because so many people with whom I worked were from New York or the East Coast, they tended to have a certain accent and speech patterns, or they were from a part of the country or a part of the world that was identifiable when they spoke. I didn't sound like them, and they couldn't place my accent. So as soon as I opened my mouth, people asked where I was from. I got comments like, "Utah, isn't that one of those square states out there?" I've never met anyone from Utah. Didn't know BYU even had a law school. I let these differences strip away my self-confidence. I began to doubt whether I could make a significant contribution to my employer because I felt I was just too different. This is where living your values out loud comes in. At this point, I need to mention that one of my top personal values is music. I learned to play the piano before I learned to read, and during junior high and high school, I was lucky enough to take piano lessons from Carol Hurst, that talented, beautiful, and caring Carol Hurst. May her memory continue to inspire. She was my teacher as I gave 2 piano recitals at what was then referred to as the Weber State College Fine Arts Center, Choral Room number 229. Back to New York, I decided that before calling GE back to ask for my job and leaving New York, I was going to try and take piano lessons at Juilliard's night school. Remember my philosophy of never, never giving up on your dreams. I was overjoyed when I was accepted after playing several Chopin pieces I had studied with Carol Hurst. As you know, values tend to be universal and admired by all. What I hadn't counted on was the respect I received from my colleagues when they found out I was taking piano lessons at Juilliard's night school. After about 6 months, during a review session, my boss told me he didn't know what had changed, but he thought I might be a more effective and creative attorney when taking piano lessons. He told me that senior business executives were requesting me to be on their teams, saying something like, "She thinks so differently. And when she does, it encourages others to do the same. The creative juices start flowing." And as you all know, class of 2017, when the creative juices are flowing, a business becomes more competitive. What the senior business executives realized that I was just beginning to grasp is that Diversity is power. And when I was living my values out loud, I was more comfortable and confident with myself and with my heritage. For example, now when folks would say to me they'd never met anyone from Utah or an attorney who had graduated from my law school, my response would be, "This is your lucky day." Let me tell you about my beautiful home state and what a spectacular education you can receive there. And then I would ask them to tell me more about their home state, or in many cases, their home country, and what their education was like. I learned so much, and I learned that when you are proud of your heritage and live your values out loud, you not only lift up yourself, but you help lift up everyone else you are working with. The end result is a more successful organization. Regardless of your gender, what you look like, what geographic region you come from, what schools you attended, or what your cultural history is like, there may come a time when you are facing the same challenges that I did. And when that happens, remember life lesson number 3. Say it out loud with me. Diversity is power. One more time. Diversity is power. A fact that helped make my career such a success. Let me end the way that I began. This is your day. This is your time. You are the future. Shine bright as you go out and make your dreams come true.
Thank you for that musical interlude. And Dr. Bergeson, thank you for your address and teaching us about the value of hard work, about opening doors to opportunity, even if you have to lean on them a little bit, and about the power of diversity. Thank you. We will now proceed with the presentation of candidates for graduation by Provost Madon Minor.
Will the candidates receiving an associate's degree please rise? Will the candidates receiving a bachelor's degree please rise? You associates, stay standing. Will the candidates receiving a master's degree please rise? President White, as Provost of Weber State University, it is my distinct honor and pleasure to present these candidates who have completed all requirements of the certificates and degrees indicated in the program of the day and are thus deemed worthy of this distinction.
In the name of Weber State University, upon the recommendation of its faculty and by the authority of the Utah State Board of Regents, I hereby confer upon each of you the appropriate certificate and degree indicated in the program of the day. As a symbol of your achievement, will all of the graduates please move the tassels from the right side of their caps to the left side? Graduates, although the journey that you have taken has been a transformative one thing has remained constant: the support that you have received. Your graduation today is a personal achievement, but one that would not have been possible without the family, friends, faculty, staff, and others who supported you along the way. Graduates, let's give those who supported you a round of applause. Thank you. You may now be seated. You will now hear from Andre Lortz, past president of the Weber State University Alumni Association.
On behalf of Weber State University Alumni Association, congratulations, graduates. All that hard work, all those late nights of study paid off, and now you have a degree in your hand. A university commencement, though, is very steeped in tradition. Here at Weber State, it's a tradition for the Alumni Association to ask all the alumni of Weber State to stand and be recognized. It's that time. So I invite all alumni of Weber State to stand. Graduates, that's you. Thank you. Please be seated. What an extraordinary group to be a part of, Weber State University alumni. For over 125 years, this institution has been a place where dreams were born, nurtured, realized, and empowered for so many people. So graduates, as you celebrate your accomplishments, you celebrate the people who helped you reach your goals. Remember to celebrate where it all happened, your alma mater, Weber State. Graduates, join us, your Weber State Alumni Association. We want to get to know you. We want to provide you with career and networking support, and we want to keep you in contact with your alma mater. Plus, your membership will support future Weber State students. Supporting students is what Weber State does. Celebrate the degree you have earned. Celebrate where you earned it. You are now and forever a Wildcat.
Thank you, Andre. We appreciate everyone who helped to plan, organize, and participate in the commencement ceremony today. If there are any in the audience who would like an additional program, they will be available at Portal 14. You may pick them up after the conclusion of this commencement. For those who would like to view the entire ceremony, please refer to page 35 in your program for information on watching commencement on Weber State's YouTube channel. I'd like to particularly recognize Bev Rudd, who has organized commencement ceremonies for many years. This is her last one before she retires at the end of the month. Bev is sitting over here in the front row. Let's give her a hand. Now, would you please join the Weber State University Wind Ensemble, conducted by Dr. Shannon Roberts, and student vocalist Melanie Brownell in singing our school song, Purple and White. If you still don't know the words to Purple and White, they're printed in the inside cover, back cover of the program. The recessional by graduates will then conclude the 149th commencement exercises of Weber State University. The audience, platform guests, and faculty should remain seated during the recessional. Please rise for our school song, Purple and White.
Proudly waving laurel Weber, an ensign of truth and right. The flag, I love it, waves above. I love it with all my might. Oh, royalty lies in its purple, and purity in its white. I'll honored be if true to thee, and dare to do the right. Oh, I'll be true to thee, oh purple and white, and I will stand by thee in any fight for truth and
worthy